Welcome to my energy efficient home design made by Naima Ramirez. This is my home picture tour. As you can see, I try to get all the angles of the house. I decorated it and you can see a little bit what's inside. First, I want to talk about the doors. The doors, as I was cutting the door in the beginning, I realized that this was going to be a space in between the door, which I knew I had to get my door to be insulated. So what I did to get it insulated, as you can see in the first picture, the door is closed, and then the second one I added this clay strip that was added to the material box that was given to us. And at first I wasn't sure how I was supposed to insulate it and for it to not have like this space in between. And I used kind of the trick that we were taught in one of the lessons that we had at ComEd, in which he talked about how you can see if your doors were insulated with the dollar that you can put on the door and see if it went through. That means that there was no insulation between the doors. So what I did was grab a piece of paper in the beginning before I put the clay strip, and I saw that the paper was able to go through easily. So what I thought is try to put the clay strip in between of the door, and in order for it to be closed and not leave any space, and it worked perfectly fine. So this is the way I decided to fix the space that I had, so it would prevent heat from coming outside. For the windows, I decided to insulate them with the white foam tape that was in the material box. I thought this was the best option since it's thick and it can prevent heat from coming outside. So I added the tape around the window inside the houses. As you can see, for the first window that was beside the door, I decided to use it on any gaps that was in between. And in the second picture, I decided to add more since it wasn't really insulated with the poster board. Next, we have the walls, ceilings, and floors. As I started this project, I was thinking about the insulation, how can it be able to succeed in this challenge. So I decided to make the foil as my insulation. I remember how in the mini lunch bags, there's some that have the foil around it to keep it cold. I've seen those in the stores, so I thought it could be the same with this house. It could prevent heat from coming in, and as you can see, I also decided to cover up with poster board on top. I also put some tape that I put around the windows on the edges of the wall and ceilings. So the foil, I thought that it was the best way since it could like keep it from coming any heat from outside. And I used the same tape that I used in around the windows to cover any gaps that was in between the ceilings and the floors, so it can keep heat from coming outside. So it really helped to see whether it was working or not. So this was one of my installations. So I recorded the initial temperature. At first, as you can see in the photo, the initial temperature without the ice was 24.3 Celsius. And then after I put 8 ice cubes in the plastic bag to the house and recorded the final temperature after 10 minutes, it was 22.1. I did see a change in the temperature, the temperature change was 2.2 Celsius. I did see a change, as you can see in the picture. And how I made my house efficient is I decided to use a good insulation material in order to complete this challenge. I also put the clay strip along the space in the door so it prevents heat from coming in, and the foam tip along the edges of the windows. And I get having the right measurements to cover the house will serve conservation.